Right, now to give us more perspective in terms of what is happening at this moment in the Russia-Ukraine war, we're being joined by retired Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Davis, who's joining us on this broadcast. Colonel Davis, thank you very much indeed sir, for joining us here on Viewer. And let me in fact start off by asking you about the latest bit of information that has come in about reports of drone attacks that have taken place in Murmansk, in the Arctic part of Russia. Now, this is said to be a territory that is almost 1,500 kilometers away from Ukraine, and Ukrainian drones, at least 3 of them, are said to have targeted unspecified targets at this moment within this Russian territory. What do you make of these long-range drone attacks by Ukraine? What do they accomplish in this war?
Well, I mean, we just saw the largest Ukrainian wave of drones into Russia in the war just a few days ago with 147 or 144, depending on who you ask, drones that went into Russia. But nearly all of them were shot down. Only a handful actually hit anything. And really there was no militarily significant targets even attacked, as you saw that big famous picture of the high-rise apartment building in Moscow being hit with one of the drones, actually a couple of them. So in terms of military efficiency, it does absolutely nothing. I understand from some of the claims out of the Western and Ukraine side that they want to, quote, bring the war to the Russians and make them realize this is real. But I'm not sure what that's supposed to accomplish on the ground in the war, because so far the only reaction has been that it makes Russia madder and makes the people more willing to support war and actually pushing Putin further to take harsher action against the Ukraine. So from a military perspective, I'm not sure what they're intending to accomplish, but it doesn't seem to be working.
And also considering, the fact that the United States of America has been very circumspect in terms of how it's been allowing Ukraine to use long-range missiles. Now, this is a policy that's in fact been described as, containing escalation. Do you think that is working on the part of the United States, which has been mulling on letting Ukraine use long-range missiles to strike targets inside Russia?
Well, anytime you use some kind of, especially a new weapon that hasn't been used before, or using it in a new way that it hasn't been used, i.e. to strike strategic depth targets inside of Russia, you've got to ask yourself 2 big important questions. On the first side, what is this going to accomplish for the Ukraine side? Will this have some impact on the front line? Will this prevent Russia from maintaining its war support? And then number 2 is, what is the risk of escalation? What is the risk that Russia responds in some way that's antithetical to your interest, more powerful than they have? And on both of those counts, it's bad for the Ukraine and bad for the American side, because first of all, militarily, it's not going to make any difference. There's not enough weapons that we're talking about that even are available to give to the Ukraine side that's going to have a big impact, even if they get through. And of course, Russia has good air defense systems scattered throughout their country, and the majority of those missiles are going to be able to knock down. So if you don't have very many, and you have a country as vast as Russia, you just don't have enough to service those targets to make a difference at the front line. But you strike deep into Russia, there are some increasingly ominous warnings, not just from Putin, but from some of the other members of their Duma and some of the other officials. Peskov was another one of them, that are saying, hey, this is a real red line, and you start striking strategic depth in our country, we're going to respond. And I think that we're just playing with fire if we think that they're just bluffing and then do it something anyway. And it doesn't make sense to take a risk of expanding the war on something that's not even going to have a positive impact on the tactical fight.
All right, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much indeed, Colonel Daniel Davis, for joining us and getting us those insights there. For all the latest news, download the Viewer app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.